Hello, good morning, good moed. We are here to learn now day 10 of the book, Sefer Chafetz Chaim, and today it's called Corrective Measures. Now, if you remember from last time, we're now entering the part of the book, the Sefer, where the Chafetz Chaim goes through all the negative commandments that are violated when one speaks Lashon Hara. Remember, we said there's 17 negative commandments that are violated. So first he starts off by just saying that we all know that in the Torah, when someone would speak Lashon Hara, they would contract a disease called tsaras, which is basically like a skin disease. And we know that Miriam, Moshe's sister, contracted it, and she had to stay outside the camp, and they waited 7 days for her until she healed and was able to come back into the camp with the rest of the Jewish people. Now, Chafetz Chaim points out there is no other sin in the Torah that has a direct, immediate punishment like that. We are not a religion that believes that as soon as you sin, a bolt of lightning comes out, because that would take away your free will. If the second one would sin, they would see a consequence, and we would get punished constantly with different illnesses as soon as we sin. Everyone would be afraid to sin, and we wouldn't have a real free will and ability to choose not to sin. But it's different in the case of Lashon Hara because it is so destructive. In this case, Hashem decided to actually give an illness when somebody speaks Lashon Hara. And the Chafetz Chaim says that there is a commandment in the Torah, in Devarim, that says, Hashamer b'nega hatzaras. You actually are told to be careful, to guard yourself from saras, from getting this skin disease. And the Torah commandment is basically saying, if it's telling you to guard yourself from that skin disease, it's telling you to guard yourself from speaking Lashon Hara, which is what gives you that skin disease. Then he goes on to talk about the next commandment you violate when you speak Lashon Hara, which is V'lifnei iver lo sitein mechshol. Do not put a stumbling block in front of a blind person. So what does that mean? That means that you shouldn't put your friends in a situation that's going to tempt them to sin. So every time that you speak Lashon Hara, you're basically tempting everyone around you to sin, because the listeners also get punished. So he gives an example. Let's say you have a Shabbos table, and there's 7 people at your Shabbos table, and you decide to speak Lashon Hara to all 7 people. It's not one sin that you get for that, but you get 7 sins for every word of Lashon Hara you speak, because you're now creating 7 people to have to stumble by listening to Lashon Hara. And he also goes to say that the people listening to the Lashon Hara are also responsible for creating a stumbling block in front of a blind person and transgressing this commandment, because if a speaker is speaking Lashon Hara and the listener seems really engaged and wants to know more, you're encouraging the speaker to continue speaking. But if someone's speaking Lashon Hara and the listener looks distracted, like they don't really want to hear it, or they even say straight out, I'd rather not speak Lashon Hara, then you're stopping it right in its tracks. So the Chafetz Chaim ends off by saying, and it's really important to hear this, he ends with a word of caution. One should be very careful not to sit with groups who speak Lashon Hara. He cites the advice that Rabbi Eliezer gave his son, Hyrcanus. My son, do not sit with groups that talk about the faults of others, because these words rise up to heaven and are recorded there. And anyone who participates in such gatherings is listed in heaven as a member of a chaburas rasha, a group of evildoers. So it's really straight out and clear right there in the Torah about which commandments you are violating when you speak evil about others. And we will continue to learn together after Pesach and see what other commandments we are violating. And hopefully we aren't violating as we get better in this mitzvah. And remember, it's not all or nothing. It's not black or white. We're working on ourselves, and we're trying to be better day by day. And that's what's really important. Have a wonderful 2nd days of Pesach.